Song of the Avatar, Visual Riffs on the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 4, Acting with Wisdom. Krishna says, "Once upon a time I taught yoga to a student named Vivasvat. Vivasvat later passed these teachings on to a younger student. Thus, yoga was handed down through generations. And today I teach you, Arjuna, because you are my friend." "But Vivasvat lived in ancient times, Krishna. You and I are about the same age. How could you have been teaching thousands of years ago?" "We have both been born into this world many times, Arjuna. In each of your lifetimes, you identified with your body-mind complex. And each time your body-mind complex died, your consciousness was disrupted. I remember all those lifetimes that you have forgotten, and much more. We have played many different roles together in this Leela, this divine theater of life. Do you know Lord Vishnu, Arjuna? The sustainer and protector of the universe? I know of him, but I don't know him personally." "Oh, but you do, my friend. I am Vishnu. Whenever the dark curtain of ignorance falls upon Leela's stage, I am born again. My purpose is to raise that curtain just a bit, so that the actors might catch a glimpse of the bright footlights illuminating the divine playwright. Your worst enemies, Arjuna, are greed, fear, and anger. These enemies have entrapped you in the cycle of death and rebirth, a repetitive pattern that leads only to sorrow and despair. The goal of yoga, mystical union with divine spirit, is the foundation of all religions. Every desire that you have is a prayer to yourself. When there is enough force behind those desires, your prayers will be answered, and you will find ways to fulfill those desires. But desires are endless, and their fulfillment is ultimately unfulfilling." Now we come back to the three gunas and how they relate to spiritual evolution. Inertia and apathy represent the guna called tamas, and people with a lot of tamas do not act. The guna of rajas is all about action, though this action is mostly self-centered. Those who have evolved to the guna of sattva act selflessly, having learned to serve others without expecting anything in return. Finally, the most spiritually evolved are those who understand that all of life is one. They recognize the divine spirit that manifests in every life form, and they honor that spirit by meditating and acting in the service of others. Sages have freed themselves from the prison of their ego by breaking through the walls of selfish desire. To understand karma yoga, Arjuna, it is important to know the difference between action and inaction. Action itself includes words and thoughts as well as deeds. Buddha said that everything we are is the result of what we have thought. And Sigmund Freud pointed out that thought is action in rehearsal. The beginning of every action is a thought, and through meditation we can learn to take control of our thoughts, thereby changing the course of our actions. There are two types of inaction: the lethargy of the guna tamas, as well as the spiritual inaction of the sage. These sages, having abandoned all selfishness, realize that divine spirit acts through them. Spiritual inaction is when the ego no longer directs one's actions. The sage is but an instrument of spirit, acting entirely for the benefit of others. When challenges arise, the sage hears opportunity knocking. Those who choose to walk the spiritual path will be faced with many challenges. Each challenge demands a deeper examination of the seeker's consciousness. Desires and emotions agitate the mind, moving one further away from any awareness of the higher self. In the Bible, it says to be still and know that I am God. This is the stillness of the mind, achieved in meditation, attunement to the divine spirit within. Have no expectations from life, Arjuna, for they will hold you hostage. Expect nothing and be free. Be like the sage and know that everything that happens to you is an opportunity for spiritual growth. Be content. You don't need the support of others. The source of all support is within you. As you meditate, you will learn to liberate the attention demanded by the ego and redirect it toward unselfishly serving others. Each act becomes an offering of love, given to the divinity you see in those that you serve. Two different paths lead to self-realization. The path of the ascetic is followed by those who choose to live in some kind of monastic order. And the path of householdership is followed by those who live in the world but are not of the world. This is the path of moderation in all things. Be aware of your breath and its rhythms. A person with an agitated mind breathes quickly and irregularly. But a meditative lifestyle produces a longer and slower pattern of breathing. Keep your body strong and healthy for selflessly serving others, and you will harmonize with the spirit that unifies all of life. When the ego dominates one's life, the mystical experience is not an option, and that unfulfilled life is one of frustration and insecurity. Fulfillment comes when one begins to serve others. Happiness will truly come when one learns to make others happy. There are different ways of giving. Some choose to give money. Some give material goods. Some will give their time and energy. But the greatest gift that can be given is that of spiritual wisdom, for this gift will help others to discover the divine spirit that lives within them. Spiritual wisdom is nurtured through meditation. Most people are aimlessly adrift on life's stormy sea. But spiritual wisdom is the vessel that can carry them to that distant shore of transcendent joy. Focus your awareness on the supreme goal of self-realization, Arjuna, and all of your past mistakes will be reduced to ashes. As you progress upon the path, you will be guided by your own inner light. Awaken to your higher self, Arjuna. Embrace the path of yoga. Raise up the sword of spiritual wisdom and vanquish every doubt that lingers in your heart. Namaste.